I always believe, and photography has really helped me to really believe that something does exist, like a God or spirit or something exists on earth. Because me coming into photography was, wow. I mean, if you can just imagine, like, I was just a working man, really. I worked in an office, a very boring job. And now, you know, I've spent a whole lifetime and I have quite a good reputation as a photographer. So it was a miracle becoming a photographer. Something or somebody controlled me, you know, and gave me this opportunity. There's some spirit somewhere or some force that made it happen. And I really believe that, you know, because I've had an incredible career and I've been enlightened, you know, really enlightened and really felt a lot of interesting things and really interesting things have happened to me. Because I think there's some spirit, somebody controlling me. I'm just like I don't know, a robot being controlled by some big force, you know? Maybe, I mean, obviously I love the church, I love religions, and I believe in all that. I'm very much believe in that. And I do feel that I am like a vehicle to bring images, you know, to the world, controlled by something else, you know? So I've been a photographer since 1972 as a professional photographer. It's a very long time. And I think I've got better at it. Although in the exhibition here, there's pictures going back through that time that show that I'll never be able to beat them, you know. I'll never be able to take better photographs, really. I'll probably be able to take a lot of good ones, but there are some miracle ones here, you know.
Is there anything your favorite one?
Yeah, the rush hour London Bridge, where the people are going across the bridge. You see it through the back of the taxi. And obviously a broken frame for Depeche Mode, you know, the peasant in the cornfield. It's very special. And the real great series of the workers lying down with their tools. I mean, that is like, wow. And these things come from emotions, you know, feelings, sometimes painful feelings. In the case of the workers, it was my feelings towards working people that die doing their jobs, really. And my dad did, you know, my father, before I did the workers here, unfortunately died through industrial pollution, you know, sort of breathing in all horrible things. And these workers here in this exhibition here in MoMA actually worked on a big building site in London. And the building site was insured against people getting hurt. And I was told by the big boss that 14 people would die building this site. And my father had just died, so I really felt quite emotional about the workers and things. And this big property developer, very powerful man, said, "Brian, we love what you've done to promote our building site. Here is this money, just do whatever you want." And so I did these workers as my project. So I really find that these are really important. Then here in the exhibition you have a photograph of a bearded man who is a worker. And he is the symbol of a very big construction in the UK. The building of St Pancras Station and the building of High Speed 1, which is a big high-speed rail service from France to London. And I always think that photography can be more powerful than some of the most powerful things that can be constructed or built on Earth. One photograph can be so powerful. As people have said in the days gone by, that one photograph is more powerful than 1,000 words. It is actually incredibly powerful. And I wanted to take a photograph that was more powerful than the construction itself. And I think with this bearded man, I did it. It's become a very famous photograph in recent times in Great Britain, the UK, England. And of course, I paid my visit to Georgia. Some people think it was 1990. Other people think it was 1989. And the great experience I had, and by coming here for this exhibition, was amazing, you know, because I found out where I took those photographs, because I had no idea. But the man who organized it all for me told me. And he told me the Georgian name, and I've forgotten already because I can't remember. So complicated names for things. And we have a film now of us working. After 26 years, I have a film of me as a real young man, moving and, I don't know, working. It's an extraordinary gift.
Can you imagine who you will be if you will not be a photographer? Can you imagine about another profession?
Yeah, I can imagine a little bit. Maybe an actor. I would like to, I think I could have been a good actor. Being a portrait photographer is really, you have to be a good actor, because you have to become part of the intimate situation of the portrait. A portrait is very close contact between photographer and subject, and you have to get the best out of that subject. So you have to manipulate that subject, you know, you have to get that subject to enjoy and lose themselves in the situation, so you can get that subject to do anything you want. So you have to adapt, you know, you have to act a part that fits perfectly to that situation. So I think I'm suited to photograph people, you know, really close, as opposed to on the street at a distance, grabbing a moment. It's not for me. I really am quite happy to be honest and straight next to a person. So I think being an actor, I think I could have been quite a good actor.
Can you say more about working process when you're working with a model? Just I remember your story about Georgia, the Georgian people, because it's everything stage photography, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain how you was communicating with them, because you don't understand Georgian, they don't understand you. I think how was the working process?
Well, it's interesting because you asked me what I could have done if I was not going to be a photographer, and I said, well, maybe I could have been an actor. Well, I think people feel the spirit of you. They get the atmosphere of you. They look at you and they work with you, and they speak a different language, and they do not understand you, and you do not understand them. But the way you are as a person and the way you act, they sensitize themselves towards you. And they have feelings about you, although they cannot understand what you're saying. And you can achieve a lot, you know, without being able to speak. You know, I'm sure we say a mute person in English, a person that cannot speak, can communicate, you know, quite well. I think I can understand and get the spirit of a person that cannot speak. So it works very much. And then someone saying, can you turn your head to the left, like a Georgian person going up to the models? Yeah, of course, that really helps. The details, you know, the real detail things. But to get someone to basically be, then I think you do not need the language. Only the language to do small things.
Okay, and the last question, because you're speaking so like cool.
Yeah, there is, yeah, I'm working on things, yeah. I'm doing a project on religion. There's still lives and set up pictures about my feelings about religion. Obviously, I'm a Christian. I'm a Church of England or Catholic. That church is my world, the Catholicism, and Christianity is the way I was brought up. So it's about that. And I'm doing a project about the Holocaust. And I'm doing a project about the Holocaust in Poland, about the transportation of the prisoners to the death camps. And it's about me as well a bit, you know, so I'm reaching the latter part of my life, and it's also about people, how they seem to want to kill each other, and that it's crazy, you know, it's against religious wars or racial problems where lots of people kill each other. It's a book against people exterminating each other on a large scale, which is happening quite near here, a few hundred kilometers from here, which is just terrible. So it's a book against the extermination of people, and another project on religion, Christianity really. That's what I'm working on.
Okay, and can you say a little bit about your books? Because
Excuse me?
about books, about your books.
About my books. The way I'm made is that I like to think that if I want to do something, I do it, or I make it happen. And the only reason I make it happen is because if no one's interested in it, then I'll find a way of doing it myself. And being a creative, artistic person, on a lot of occasions, people do not like what you do. Most people don't like what you do. So you have to make it happen yourself, and you have to make sacrifices. So I've published quite a few books. I've published about 8 books now. And I've managed to, I've published a lot of books myself because it's the only way I could ever make them happen. And even if I've got no money, I will make sacrifices and ensure that I find that money somehow. And I do not care if they do not sell. I like them to sell, but eventually they do. You know, I'm selling books now that I made in the 70s and the 80s. They have them here in this museum, in a storage room here, just a few. And people are buying them now. But when I made them, they never bought any of them. They never bought them. They just didn't want them. But if I want to do something, I just do it. And I think artists have to do that. If they really want to do something, they just have to make it happen and do it.